different. Webster's defines different as different from others, unusual. Roget's second thesaurus says different is unlike another in nature, quality, amount, or form. My friends usually think of different as, well, me. And I can think of nothing better to demonstrate the story of how different I can be than the story of how I met my husband, Benjamin, or JB for Just Ben. It started innocent enough. A dinner at Applebee's with my friend Emily. It happened to be happy hour and there was a group of people at the table next to us playing quarters. I, of course, decided to tell them that they didn't really know how to play quarters. So in order to prove me wrong, the two guys came over and sat at our table and challenged us to a game. One was quiet and he had his hat pulled down over his face, and I really don't remember much about him. But the other guy sat next to me and we talked for a while I proved to him how much better I was at the game. Afterwards, I gave him my number and I said, if you ever want to get beat at quarters again, just give me a call. Well, the call came in the form of a text. Although, not being a big texter, I didn't even realize I had a text till several days later. And then, I didn't know who it was from because it wasn't signed. But in my infinite wisdom, I figured out it was that guy from Applebee's. We ended up texting for several hours every day and for several weeks. And in the end, I thought, this guy is pretty cool. About that time, I was out with my friend Emily again. And he sent me a message saying he was at a local bar with some friends, and why don't we stop by? He said he'd be wearing a gray hat and blue shirt. He had to tell me this because I wasn't sure I'd recognize him since I hadn't seen him since Applebee's. But I entered and I did recognize him, and I walked up and said, hi, you're wearing a white hat, not a gray hat, but you got the shirt right. He looked rather confused, but I took that to be from the girl he was talking to. So I stepped back and talked to his friends for a bit until he came over. He still looked somewhat confused, but he was nice, and afterwards a group of us decided to go to Waffle House for breakfast. It was then that I realized the other guy in the group was that quiet guy from Applebee's. I realized this when he started telling everybody all about me and the things that I've been texting for the last few weeks. You see, unbeknownst to me, the quiet guy was the guy I'd been texting all along. He'd woken up the next day from Applebee's and found my phone number and didn't know who it belonged to, so thought he'd text me for the heck of it to see who I was. Let me tell you, he was having a good laugh at my expense. He realized when I got to the bar and I made the comment about the hats to his friend that I'd mixed up him and his buddy. But he thought it would be fun to see what happened. I can't remember a time I'd ever been so embarrassed. And I proceeded to tell him that over the laughs of all the people around us. Most people would have walked out right then and there. But I was hungry, and after all, I am different. And most people would never have spoken to him again. But the next day I texted him again, and again, and again. I don't have much need to text him anymore. You see, on June 26, 2009, I married that guy. The guy I hardly remember meeting. The guy that, oh, and did I happen to mention, also happens to be 17 years younger than me? Woo!
Again, girl.
Being different has led me to a lifetime of experiences and adventures. Often earns me raised eyebrows and odd looks, and has led me to great happiness. None more so than in my husband Benjamin, or JB. You see, sometimes being different definitely has its perks.